how'd you get on ECW's radar?
That was by, I hate saying by accident too. I ended up, okay, I got to tell you the long story, and it just makes more sense. So when Paul Heyman called Gleason's looking for a black dude, and he was like, oh, Dudley, right? So I was in the office when, not with the phone call, but sitting there, and Adrian Bird, he played, his gimmick was like the Village People gimmick. He was with a group of guys with Ken Sweeney, and all those guys doing like this Village People character. I think Ken Sweeney was the Indian dude, and Adrian Bird was the construction worker. And Johnny's like, "Hey, Adrian, Paul Heyman's looking for a gimmick, a black Dudley," because Johnny was not really, he was like Vince. He didn't really know like what's going on, but he knew about ECW, but not like who the Dudley Boys were or
Right.
Taz. He just knew Taz, shit like that. So he's like, "Yeah, something with Dudley," and Adrian goes, um, "Is that hardcore blood gimmick company
Right.
in Philly? I think it is." And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "No." He did the black dude from Friday. He's like, "Nope, I ain't doing that." So then he was like, he called Devon. Devon was next on the list. And Devon never knew this story. I told him that. And he's like, "I didn't know that." And I said, "Well, yeah, I was in the office when it happened." Anyway, so Devon gets the gimmick. He uses the Dudleys. He's doing his do. So one day we're in the Gleasons and I'm working out, hip toss, drop kick, tag out. I'm standing on the ropes. And Java Shabibi, he was a manager for, remember Sheik? Not the Iron Sheik, the other Sheik, Saturno. I got a picture of
Mm,
him somewhere, but if you see it, you know. But anyway, he did the Iron Sheik gimmick too. And Java Shabibi was his manager. So Java was in the ring and we're just talking when everybody's working out when we get tagged in. And I said, "Man, what's going on?" Blah, blah, blah. He goes, I said, "What you doing this weekend?" And it was like a Monday. And he said, "Oh man, I've been going to Philly. Devon been invited me down to try out for a referee match, like to be a ref." "Oh man, that's what's up. Cool." And he goes, "Yeah, so I go anytime they're in Philly, I go." So I said, "All right, whatever," and continue wrestling. So let's say it was Thursday and we're talking again. I'm like, hey, this weekend you're going to Philly, right? I forgot about that." He goes, "Man, no, I won't be able to go this weekend." "Why?" "My car broke down and I won't be able to go, and that's my only ride." So I had a 1998, no, 1997 Ford Escort ZXR, red, bro, a little two-door gimmick. And I'm like, "Bro, I could drive you down if it's okay with Devon. I can take you if you really need to go. It gives me a reason to go down there." And he's like, "Well, let me ask Devon. You know the rules. You got to ask before you
sure.
invite somebody." So he called Devon and Devon's like, "Yeah, that's fine. Just tell Angel to bring his gear." And I'm like, "All right." So we went down there to the ECW arena. Tracy Smothers, Nova, Chetty, Doring, everybody, Guido was in the ring. They were all working out before the shows. They always got in the ring, did a lot of stretches, calisthenics, like the Vito thing, just jogging around the ring and all that crap. And I got dressed, went into the ring, and I stood on the apron. And Tracy was like, "Hey, you, Doring, wrestle Chetty for 5 minutes. You wrestle him for 5 minutes." And then he came to me, "Hey, kid, what's your name?" I said, "Angel." He's like, hey, wrestle Guido for like 5 minutes." So we wrestled, and that's when I was doing the high flying stuff and drop down, leapfrog, arm drag, drop kick, backdrop. We just going at it, boom, 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 back and forth 5 minutes. And then, and then, I don't know why everybody calling me on a Saturday. That's a first. But so then after I got out, and then Debbie was like, "Hey guys, door's about to open in 15 minutes. Get out the ring. We could get everything set, almost finished." So everybody gets out the ring, and I'm walking to the back, and I go through the curtain. And when I go through the curtain, I see straight ahead it was Sabu and Rob Van Dam talking to Paul, and I think they were going over a match, like what was going to transpire in the match or whatever. And Paul looked up and he goes, "Hey kid, come here." And I go, "Yes, sir." And he goes, "I like what I see. Do me a favor, stick around." And he just goes back to what he was doing. And I'm like, you remember, like, I just like, So I go to Devon. Hey D, Paul just told me they like what he saw. Just stick around. And he's like, good, good, good. Just stick around. He goes, yeah, but D, I don't understand. Angel, just stick around. But D, Angel, just shut the fuck up. If he tells you to stick around, just stick
Stick
around.
around.
Trust me. And I'm like, because I was green. I was a young kid.
Right.
So I'm like, okay. So for weeks, just travel to Philly, travel to Jersey, just sat in the locker room. And I don't, and then it just, you show your face little by little, little by little. That's what happened. It was just, and then it just transpired. One minute it was the Spanish Angel. I was doing like, before that, I was like, Angel, we need you to get a Carhartt. I had to do Mustafa. They had an angle at the ECW Arena when Mustafa was gone and Jack was doing the singles run and they were going to bring back Mustafa, but of course they needed a body, so they had me under a mask, a Carhartt, a hoodie, black pants, in the freaking, overhead lights, sweating like a slave in that thing, and I'm just like, come out, like a cane, like, oh my God, who is that? Who is that? We don't know. Is it Mustafa? That bullshit.
Right. Right.
And did that, and then it was just a lot of things being thrown at me. Like talking to Jack, and he one day was sitting there while he was doing cocaine, telling me that that he's thinking about bringing back the gangsters, and that I fit the criteria. That didn't transpire. Then Paul told me one day we're in Pennsylvania, I think Jersey or Pennsylvania. He's like, "Hey, we're thinking about bringing ICP here." And to work an angle, and I think I could put you in as one of their bodyguards. That didn't happen. Then I was just doing the Spanish Angel thing, just wrestling matches against, Jack Victory. And, it was just little spots. And then one day we're in Michigan and they were like, hey, we got an idea. We're going to put a group of bald dudes together. And I mean, it was more to it, but then, we just want to see how it looks. So I have the
Paul
video.
says this.
Yeah, Paul and Tommy.
Paul. Okay.
Paul's me and DeVito. And I mean, I bumped into the video on YouTube, but it was that was the first incarnation of the so-called Baldies, Rod Price, and we come out and beat up Spike Dudley, and then New Jack comes out, ping, 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 everybody powders, and then I get the big elbow off the top of the balcony through the table, and then that's when the spot happened with the Baldies.